It is great to be back here in Lake Charles. I must say that it is a great pleasure to be surrounded by beautiful, smart women. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to continue saying it. You are not only the backbone, but you're the brains and the beauty of our party. First off, let me tell you the whole truth. I worked when I was in the Navy. I had a secret clearance. I worked with secret documents all the time. When I was in the Nixon administration and in high-level positions in other states, I worked with classified information. I want you to know that I don't have a Corvette. I have a motorcycle parked in my garage. But may I have that photograph, please? Okay, I have a photograph. I have seen this spot. I have a photograph of the inside of my garage with my motorcycle, and there's a box on it that says no secrets. I don't have any. I didn't take any. I'm totally innocent. Just want you to know. And on a more serious note, my roots are deep in the Lortel Swords area of South Louisiana. My uncle, Melton Guillory, Nonc Melton, taught me a lot of things about life. When I was a little boy, he showed me a team of mules pulling a very heavy laden wagon. And he pointed out to me, he said, the only way, he said, boy, look at this. The only way those two mules could get that job done is for them to work together, for each one to concentrate, to focus on the job of pulling that wagon. And Nonc said, now, I want you to look at those two mules. They're not related to each other. One is a little red, one is tan. When they come back home to the barn, they have separate stalls. But every morning, they get back together. They stand together. They work together. They pull together. Now, I asked him, I said, well, no. Why is it that mules work so well together and people don't? His answer came very quickly. He said, because mules are smarter than people. I've always remembered that lesson in unity. It still lives in my soul. Now, just suppose that one of those mules said to the other one on one day, I'm not pulling the wagon today because your grandfather ate more of our food than my grandfather ate. If a mule said that, every animal and every human on that farm would say, now that's a dumb donkey. If we heard a mule saying that, we would say the same thing. That is a dumb donkey. My fellow Americans, there are some dumb donkeys in our nation today. At the very moment when we all need to pull together, at the very moment when we need to be unified, there are some dumb donkeys who permit themselves to be pulled apart, separated by charlatans. Charlatans say, look, he is red and you are brown, so you can't work together. They say, these charlatans, as they pull down the statue of a great mule from history, look, his grandfather ate more food than your grandfather ate, so you can't work together. And there are some dumb donkeys who fall for that. It's so sad. Today, American culture and American values are in danger of being lost. That same uncle of mine got spanked when he was a boy in school if he spoke his native language, which was French. But today, dial someplace. Touch 1 for English, touch 2 for Spanish. Our language in our own nation. Listen, our language in our nation is being pushed aside. My uncle is turning over in his grave, I'm sure. Not only are millions of people permitted to break into our country, costing more than $1 trillion, not a billion, more than $1 trillion a year is what illegal immigration costs us. But in addition to the financial cost, illegal immigration is a major threat to our unity, to our culture, and to our values. That's the attack from the outside. Let's talk about the attack from the inside. As I said, some people permit themselves to be divided and separated, and it's very sad. There are yells today for everyone to be given the same outcome, regardless of how much effort you put in, regardless of merit. This country has always developed a reputation for American exceptionalism. We've been the best, the strongest, the brightest. No longer. Everyone, no matter how hard you work, everyone gets a trophy now for just showing up. And that is sad. They call it equity. Very popular word, equity. So everyone just gets the same thing. Our values are under attack. American exceptionalism is under attack. Even the United States Marines, part of this whole woke thing, I didn't believe this, but I had to check and make sure. The United States Marine Corps, the Marines can no longer say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, when they salute. Because sir or ma'am may misgender the person that the Marine is saluting. I'm reading it so that I want to make sure that I say it correctly. Can you imagine that? The United States Marines.
What did I say?
They just have to say yes or no, but they can't say yes, ma'am, or no, sir. They just say yes or no. Incredible. I'm telling you that our values are under attack. Our culture is being lost by these woke people. There's an ill wind blowing in our country. Everything that you can think of is called racist, and that's a way to get rid of it. Our American history, racist. Our founding fathers are now racist. Our heroes, racist. American civics, racist. Mathematics. I'm not making that up. Mathematics. You know that old thing about, 1 + 1 = 2? That is now racist. My friends, this is Colin Kaepernick. I know y'all recognize me, the ex-football player. I'm the one who says that the American flag is racist and needs to be boycotted. And also, those tennis shoes with the little flags on them, that's racist, and that needs to be boycotted. I'm here today with my list of things that need to be boycotted. Number one, black tires. All the colored cars ride on black tires. We need to stop that. That is racist. We need to get rid of black tires and start riding on pink tires, white tires, some other color tires, but not black ones, because that's racist. Number two, sheets. Everybody knows that the Klan wore sheets. Sheets are racist. We need to stop sleeping on sheets. We can sleep on towels, sleep on blankets, but sheets are racist. Number three, cotton. Cotton is racist. Folks were slaves, were forced to go out in the fields and pick cotton. Now, since cotton is racist, we need to boycott everything made out of cotton. Cotton underdrawers, cotton shirts. Number four, iron. Iron is racist. Now, let me tell you why iron is racist. The shackles used to hold slaves were made of iron. Iron is therefore racist. And where does it stop? It just keeps going on and on. It's a level of insanity that we cannot accept in this country. Our values are under attack. Our culture is under attack. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about this need for us to be unified. Our president closes our pipelines, shuts down our drilling, moves us from number one in production of gas and oil. And then he had gasoline, of course, skyrockets to $5 a gallon. And then he has to go on his hands and knees to Arab countries and beg them for some of their foreign Arab oil. That's insanity. Our DC government sends trillions of dollars overseas every year, but threatens to cut back the Social Security of Americans who have worked and fought for America all their lives. That's insanity. And that same government lets veterans and the homeless sleep under bridges, sleep on newspapers, and those same newspapers tout how many billions of dollars we've given on that particular day to which country? 50 billion to Ukraine in the last few months. This is incredible. Another example. Our leader in DC gives illegal immigrants free food, free education, free housing, free telephones, free health care. Gives that to people who are lawbreakers, who have broken into the country. And he treats Americans, our veterans, who have fought for our nation, far, far less well than he treats those illegal immigrants. I'm a veteran, and I spend a fair amount of time around veterans and in VA hospitals and places like that. And it's sad to see the health care is poor. I've been threatening to get a bus caravan of veterans. We will all get on those buses, go down to Mexico. We will get off the buses and walk across through the river down there. We'll break into the country. And when they see us, no comprende, señor. No speaking the inglés. And we would get better treatment as illegal aliens than we get as veterans today. There's something wrong with that. I may be repeating myself, but I'm doing so that I can make a point of how our government is treating your parents and grandparents and me. Let me give you one more example. May I have that first map, please? In 1959, our nation properly threatened nuclear war if Russia put missiles into Cuba, not far from the shores of the United States. That was right and proper and just. We needed to protect ourselves. And so we drew a sharp line. And we said, put those missiles in Cuba, you've got a war on your hands. Now, today, may I have that second map, please, sir? Today, that person in the White House is placing American tanks and missiles next door to Russia. Closer, as you can see from these two maps, we are placing these sophisticated war machines closer to Russia than Cuba is to America, right next door. It was proper and just for us to protect ourselves in 1959. Don't you think that Mr. Putin and the Russians are going to do something to protect themselves? Now, let me tell you what the Russians have done in the last couple of weeks. They have placed their new hypersonic nuclear missiles on Navy ships. And they have sent those Navy ships into the North Atlantic Ocean. From those ships in the North Atlantic, those missiles are able to reach the eastern coast, all of the cities on the eastern coast of the United States, including our naval base in Norfolk, Virginia. They can also reach the NATO nations, France, Germany, and all of those other nations that are piling on and lining up against Russia. Now, you may say, this is not a big deal for us to have a battle with Russia. Well, think about it. What do you think of us having a battle between the United States and Russia and China at the same time? Keep in mind that just a couple of weeks ago, our president, out of his own mouth, may I have that last map, please, sir? Our president told the folks in Taipei, which is right off the coast of China, that he would defend and protect Taipei with the treasury of our nation and the blood of our children. Picking a battle with China and Russia at the same time. Now, I'm just a country boy. I'm not very sophisticated, but I know enough to know that you should never push a wounded animal into a corner. When Putin has nothing to lose, Americans will die. If you don't believe me, ask 60,000 American families which sacrificed sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers during the Vietnam War. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Vietnam veterans whose bodies, minds, and spirits were devastated by that war. That man in the White House has never seen an airplane unloading hundreds of body bags filled with the bodies of young Americans. It's a sight that is not forgettable. He's not seen that. I have. I understand the costs of war. So, what can we do? What shall we do about all of this insanity? This war on oil and gas, the crazy, insane federal spending, the attempts to destroy our culture, our values. How do we stop the charlatans from trying to divide us by race and racism behind every corner? How do we stop the buffoons who are running around the world picking fights that we will have to fight with the blood of our children and the treasury of our nation? So what can we do? Well, we certainly need to pray for guidance. We need to pray for guidance, and we need to stop the madness. Our families, our American dream of opportunity and justice, liberty are at stake. So we must stop them. Right now, we must rethink our votes and our support for people who do not support our values, our culture, our nation. Some of them don't even support the very existence of this country. We must clear the swamps. Not only the D.C. swamp, but the political swamps all across our nation. We have to replace the swamp rats with men and women who love America, who love the American people, who love God. We must support men and women who have the courage, who have the coconuts to stand up for America. These are coconuts. In Louisiana, when someone has courage and fortitude and the ability to stand up when others stand back, we say that she or he has coconuts. There are not enough coconuts in Washington, D.C. today. Today, there are not enough people who love God, love America, and love the American people in Washington, D.C. It takes coconuts to stand against the wild spending that mortgages our grandbabies' futures. Coconuts to stand against the pin-headed foreign policies that threaten our homeland. It takes coconuts to yell out, we must take care of our veterans, our elderly, our poor, before we invite millions of guests onto our health, education, and welfare systems. We let too many lines separate us. I promise that I will not let the lines of my district prevent me from speaking out on your behalf, speaking out for your values, your needs, your interests. Coconuts to stand up for right. And if you want to know more about where I stand, please visit us at voteelbert.com, YouTube, Elbert Lee Guillory, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or the mailman. United States Navy, 1964 to 68. Difficult years for the military. I volunteered while many ducked, dodged, and ran away from military service. Rutgers Law School. It doesn't get better than Rutgers. More than 40 years of experience in government. from the municipal level to Washington, D.C., as a teacher of government and law, a government lawyer, a government manager, state representative, state senator. Experience, commitment, coconuts.